Hi there, this is Shauna from the Foiled Fox, and I have another project today. It's using the Concord 9th Geode stamp set. This is a great stamp set that you can use very versatilely. You can use any color scheme, and you can also use it, it's kind of a unisex one, so you can use it for all kinds of occasions and for a male or female. I chose to use the blues, and here is a close-up of it. So I'm going to start out with the Geode stamp set, and I'm going to use the You Are My Rock sentiment, but for the U, I'm going to use the All About You die from the Concord 9th. So I'm going to start out with a piece of hot press watercolor paper. I prefer that because it's smoother, and I'm taping it down with some yellow frog tape. I love the frog tape because it doesn't harm it, but we also have the purple tape too, which is really great. So I'm going to also be using the Daniel Smith dot chart, and we'll see that in a minute. But I'm linking this up with Versamark ink, and I'm going to stamp it twice just to make sure I get a really good impression. And now I'm going to sprinkle some Wow Gold Sparkle embossing powder. I thought the sparkle would be a really good choice because the geodes are actually quite sparkly because they have those crystals in them. And I'm now heat embossing it. If you use this embossing powder, be sure you make sure that it gets nice and melted. It is hard to tell when it has actually melted. Once this is finished, then I'm going to go on and use these perfect pens. In this pack, there's two of them, one that has a brush point and one that has a bullet point. I'm going to use the bullet point, and I'm just going to trace around that oval, leaving a little bit of space in between so that I can just expand this pattern. It's hard to see, so you can see I'm trying to see in the light where I have been. So I'm going to add more embossing powder. This will, and I'm going to heat emboss it. This will help me see exactly where I have been. As you can see in a few minutes, I'm going to continue to expand the pattern. Now this, I didn't press real hard with that bullet point, and so it went on very light, which is nice because you can vary the thickness of it. And then if you use the brush point, you can get really thick if you would like to. And now that that's heat embossed, I'm going to take the pen again, and I'm going to trace around again, continuing to expand the pattern. In the next oval that I'm going to add, I'm just going to pretend that that I have my paper is more square, and I can make that oval just so that it looks right, but it kind of goes off the edge on the sides. With that done, I'm going to add more embossing powder. And see how that design now just looks like it is continuous. I'm going to heat emboss this. Again, be careful with this because you don't want to scorch your paper, because it's very hard to see if it's melted because of the sparkle glitter that's in it. Now that's done, we'll get to the painting. I'm going to be using this Daniel Smith dot chart that you've seen in the video that I did before. And it's a really fun thing. It has 240 colors that you can kind of experiment with, and they have these little dots of the dried watercolor. And it gives you a chance to explore the different colors and decide which ones you maybe would like in the bigger tubes. You can find this dot chart on our website. It's really a great one. There's also a 66 dot chart, and then the individual inks. So I'm adding just different blues, and then you'll see on the left I'm using the Kuretake mica colors. These I thought I would just use the white, and then I found that that was a little too pale, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue. The blues that I'm primarily using with Daniel Smith are the Mayan blue, Prussian blue, indigo. Those three colors are the main colors that I use. I will list all the colors that I used in the description down below, actually in the link, which will take you to our blog, and there will be a complete supply list. But I'm just adding water and then adding in the different colors of the blue. Same principles as before. I like to have the wet on wet so that you have the water does move with you. There's this thin little area which I really like, so I took the indigo and added that dark line in between the two embossing lines. And then periodically I'm going to add in some of those mica colors from Kuretake. This is the Prussian blue I'm using right now. So you can see I took some of the white and then the blue mica colors, and I have an acrylic board there that I'm kind of mixing them together just to get a little bit lighter blue, but still have the mica colors. I also add those mica, the white mica with the Daniel Smith, and I mix them on that acrylic board. So I like having that kind of onto the side there. So it's kind of a perfect setup for me. I have my water, I have my paints, and then off to the left I have a paper towel that I can dab my brush if I need to dab off a little extra water, or I need to dry my paintbrush a little. Now I am cleaning my brush off in the water each time that I change colors, but I'm also adding a little water if I want it to be diluted a little. Now I don't know if you saw right there, you can sort of see the shimmer that this gives off. It's too bad the camera doesn't pick that up, but it is really nice and shimmery. You combine that with the gold sparkle embossing powder, it really gave a nice kind of shimmery geode look. I'm going to continue around and just finish out this pattern. I'm going to vary the blues, going back to a little bit of dark blue. This is a mix of the indigo and the mica white. I'm going to add a little bit of the, I really like this blue, it really kind of sparked it up. This is again from that mica collection from Kuretake. It's a Gansai Tambi mica color collection. But like I said, you can check that out on our supply list, so just click on the blog link that we have down below and it'll take you right to the supply list. Now now that the center has dried a little bit, I added a little bit of more dark blue. I'm going to add a little bit more color here and there just to give more depth. This geode is really easy and fun and quick to paint, so you can have a lot of fun with it. You can use any color tones you would like, and you know, the geodes do come in all different colors. So now that I let that dry, I'm going to cut this out into a panel. I'm using the Lawn Fawn outside in frame, but you can use any of your favorite. Gives that stitch edge. Now I'm going to take that U die and I'm going to cut 4 of them. Using, this is Nina 110 Solar White. And so I'm going to take out now the sentiment, "You are my rock," and I'm going to cut off the U. I don't really like cutting my stamps. I'm surprised I did this here because I usually just mask it off. But I'm going to center it on there, then put it on an acrylic block and get it ready to stamp. So I'm using a piece of navy paper. This is Blueberry Sour, using some Versamark ink after I put the anti-static powder down, and I'm stamping this sentiment right on the edge because I want it to be a real thin sentiment. And now I'm going to heat emboss it with Hero Art white embossing powder. I'm going to melt that embossing powder, and then after that's nice and melted, I'm going to trim it into a small strip. You see it there. Now I'm going to take a panel that's just slightly bigger than the geode one. This is that gold, that shimmer gold. It's beautiful paper. And I'm using a white card base. This is an A2, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then putting the gold down. And then I'm going to pop up the geode panel by adding foam tape. And add one in the center just so that it doesn't kind of cave in the center there. I'm going to peel off the release tape. And then position that. And you can see, there you go, it's all in position. And then now I have these U's, I'm going to just kind of say, oh, where do I want that? But I haven't combined them. You remember I cut 4 of them, and I'm going to actually stack one on top of the other. I thought originally that I'd use the center part, but I decided against it. I wanted to see that beautiful geode pattern, and I didn't want it masked by the solid U. I'm just going to use the outline, stack these 4, so it gives a really nice dimension, and this is very easy to stack because it's a very sturdy die. Now that all 4 of them is stacked, I'm going to glue that on using that Tombow mono adhesive. That's what I've been using this whole time. And now that I have the glue on there, I'm going to spread it out a little bit with my fingers, and then I'm going to press it in position. So I'm going to try out that U, just see how that's looking. You can't see it very well on the camera, but it shows up very nicely, and you have that very nice dimension. I'm going to put on the blue sentiment of "Are My Rock," and now you have "You Are My Rock." I'm going to add on the enamel dots. This is from the same collection I'd used before. It's the My Mind's Eye in Bloom, and it has some really nice gold enamel dots that are nice and sparkly. You see it with the blue there, and with the dots it really pulls it together. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Also, as I have mentioned before, if you want to see more details or more photos and a complete supply list, click on the link that's in the description below. You'll also see that there's lots of other projects that you can check out if you'd like. Thanks again for joining us. I will see you next time.